Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast, where we discuss what's happening in the cryptosphere and trading on Earth as it is in heaven. Buckle up and huddle on while we dive in and get weird. Here are your hosts, Joshua and Kim.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Thursday with the Mystics. How's it going, Kim?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well, actually. Yeah.
Good.
I'm excited. We have some big things coming in the next couple weeks, and maybe at some point we'll share more of that with you guys. But maybe we'll get some bonus episodes in. Maybe we'll have some guests. But either way, we'll have some fun stuff going on.
True. We are also, we didn't even talking about this on here, but this weekend we're attending another kind of mystic crypto conference.
Yeah.
And it's online, and we've been looking forward to this. It's led by some people that we know and follow. Well, we know a person and we follow a person.
Right. Yes.
And we're really looking forward to it because I think it's going to be real life-giving. So that'll be cool. I think it's called Crypto Night.
It is.
Yeah. But not like nighttime, like Superman.
Like Superman Kryptonite. Yeah.
Yes, but with a C.
Right.
Because it's clever.
Yeah, that should be a good time. But the markets are honestly pretty flat. There's just not a whole lot of movement. We've got Bitcoin is up 1% in 24 hours, but it's also only up 1% for the 7 days. So, I mean, pretty flat. Ethereum's 0.3 and then negative 1.7 for the 7 day. Luna is up 3.3 and then up 11 for 7 days. So it's actually making some good progress. And then our top mover within the top 100 is Tron, is up 16% in 24 hours. And it is a blockchain based decentralized operating system, much like Ethereum.
Cool.
So that is a good one. There's some other notable ones that I left off, but are sort of doing some things like there's the exchange like Wobi. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, but they have what I thought was a stable coin. It's supposed to be 1-to-1 backed with Bitcoin. It's HBTC is the ticker symbol for it. Well, it's up 300% in 24 hours, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me since it is supposed to be pegged to Bitcoin. So I left it off my list of actual movers because I think there just must be something going weird with their algorithm, because just in today it went from 41,000 to 165,000. So there's something going on there.
Either our numbers are off for Bitcoin or their numbers are off for the HBTC.
Well, and they only have 3 million in 24-hour volume. So I'm not even sure exactly how that would work if it was real to begin with. But anyways, I sort of left that one off. And then we also have one, and this was sort of where I want to start our conversation today. There's another one called, I've always called it Ox, but I believe it's 0x would be the correct.
I think we just figured that out.
We figured it out earlier. Ago. Yes. But it is just outside of the top 100, but it has been flying. I mean, it's really been a big mover. And I was trying to figure out sort of what is going on with it. And then I'm looking through articles. So sort of what we're going to do today was we're just going to read some headlines and talk about what's going on in the market, what's going on in the crypto world. But one of the headlines I found says that Coinbase has teamed up with ZRX, which is the ticker symbol for it, to power its new Coinbase. So I think that must be the root of what is causing it to really zoom this week. I mean, on CoinGecko, it's sitting at, I believe, 112. So it's just outside of the top 100, 113 right now. But it's up 35% in 24 hours. So it has certainly been a big mover. And I think that piece of news must be the the catalyst behind that.
I think that's quite possible. I mean, to be powering the number 4 exchange in the world, I think would be huge. Obviously, the numbers are showing that. I see that it's up 36% in 24 hours, 32% in 7 days, 70% in 30 days. That's a big move, especially with how the markets have been. We've watched Bitcoin just kind of hover around 41, dip down below 40, come back up to 42. It's been on like this real gentle roller coaster ride around the same amounts, but this one is really making some moves. Always good to see moving toward the green, not toward the red, but
True. I should have read the rest of the article before I said something, but it says power its new Coinbase NFT social media inspired marketplace.
Oh,
so it looks like Coinbase is going to be using ZRX for its NFT marketplace. So not the whole new Coinbase, but just their NFT portion of it. So that is also, I mean, regardless, that's a big deal. NFTs have become a bigger part of the crypto landscape. And so to have Coinbase starting to step in and choosing that particular platform or project to back it, that's a pretty big deal.
True. Hey, you know what? I was just thinking about this with NFTs. It feels like NFTs have become far more mainstream than even cryptocurrency itself. Doesn't it?
True. At least more, I mean, more well known, more people are talking about it. Yeah.
I know. It's like it was that crypto was kind of the gateway to NFTs, but now it's kind of become NFTs are the gateway to crypto. Doesn't it feel like that? Is it just me?
Oh, I mean, it's at least in the circles I'm in, the conversations are way more about NFTs than they are crypto. And that's an interesting thing to consider because they're not the same, but they're powered by blockchain technology, which I mean, so they both truthfully are functioning from the same platform, but they operate obviously a little bit different.
Right. It's real interesting. It almost has to be, I'm just spitballing here, but it almost has to be driven by some of the pop culture stuff. You know what I mean? We know Snoop Dogg is really into NFTs. He doesn't talk a whole lot about cryptocurrency. I don't see that so much, but I do see NFTs. I know he just dropped a new album that was fully NFT. Here's the first headline I come across when I'm on Decrypt says Paris Hilton invests in after parties, $4 million raise for Polygon NFT ticketing. So she's investing $4 million in Polygon NFTs, or at least the platform of it. And this is what we're seeing is we're seeing all of these big names, whether they own a Bored Ape Yacht Club, or if they're doing stuff in the metaverse or dropping albums or whatever it might be. But pop culture seems to really be getting involved with NFTs, which is probably why they're now more mainstream.
That's true. I have to wonder if it's not, we've talked a lot about crypto putting the power back into the hands of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if it's not these artists starting to recognize, hey, I can go direct to my consumers via this route.
Yeah.
I can open up doors to a lot of things, using these different things. It's just interesting. I had a friend send me a video the other day of kind of a younger man debating with an older man over finance. And the older man goes, "You don't even need Bitcoin. It's not worth anything." And the younger guy is like, he's getting so worked up, so emotional. And he's like, "You have no idea how important this is. You have no idea how big of a thing this is." And he's like, "Your grandkids one day are going to be sitting there going, man, why did grandpa miss this boat? Like, this was such a big deal. This is such a central part of our life now. Why did grandpa miss it?" And that's how I feel like, there's obviously a lot of haters. There's a lot of people who aren't super supportive just in general. but there's a lot of people who are just pushing the ball slowly this way. Paris Hilton using it for tickets, Snoop Dogg using it for his album, people building retail stores in the metaverse. Like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's 100% the future, but it really seems like it's going that direction.
I know. This is what I would say. Maybe the current haters are just not early adopters. Maybe they're the late adopters. Because you see people like Warren Buffett, who has been very outspoken against cryptocurrency.
Mhm.
But he's kind of like tiptoeing in. You know what I mean? Like if you talk in like poker terms, he's limping in kind of, right? Just kind of slipping in easily. But he's been investing in a lot of tech companies that are behind cryptocurrency.
Mhm.
And that has been very public. And it's an interesting thing because so many investors, at least in the US, look to Warren Buffett and what does he believe in and what does he not believe in. And though he hasn't necessarily changed his stance publicly on Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it seems that maybe he's starting to come around to see that this is coming, whether he likes it or not, and a good investment.
The thing I find very interesting is there's a couple politicians and a couple large, well-known investors, Warren Buffett being one of them, who have come out and said, Bitcoin is garbage, don't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
But then people have linked large transactions back to them. So like I had just read something a couple weeks ago where like Warren Buffett and his like second in command were just trashing Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
but then had purchased like several $100,000 of it, which to
Mm-hmm.
them is pennies. That is them limping into a project.
Right.
But it's almost like they're saying this is bullshit, but like we are still gonna have a little bit just in case something happens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think so. I just found it. I read this article yesterday. You're talking about politicians, but this is about two politicians who are pro crypto.
Mhm.
So this is about Governors DeSantis of Florida and Governor Polis of Colorado. One very Republican and one very Democrat, or one you could say very right, one very left, whatever. But they are kind of in this Twitter battle. I don't know. And it's all over cryptocurrency and the whole Twitter debate. I mean, not on Twitter, the Elon and Twitter debate thing.
Mhm.
And it's interesting to see, though, people who are even pro crypto coming at it from different angles and still coming against each other about it. It's very strange. And let me just say, I don't think this is what crypto's about. Honestly, I think this whole movement, and half the reason we're so excited about it is because, and we've talked about this, it can be a unifying agent. It doesn't have to be yet another reason to divide. And so it's kind of disappointing to see politicians who even are on the same side with this arguing over the semantics of it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like gross. It just kind of feels gross. Like just it's okay to not have to argue with somebody all the time, even if you're in politics. It's okay. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is something I've been learning in my own life lately, but just allowing yourself to sit in this neutral place where you can understand either side of the argument rather than just being so hard one direction. Like, I mean, honestly, I think that's what we're called to be as mystics, is to sit in the middle of conflict and bring heavenly wisdom to the situation. But if you're polarized one way or the other, you can't do that.
It's true. It's
And
true.
it's what we see with politics and just debate in general. You always, sometimes people will just take the opposing view just to take the opposing view, like whether or not they really believe it or not.
I mean,
I have done
listen,
that
I was
before.
going to
It's
say,
fun.
I've done that before. It's just because you can argue one side or the other. But what should we be shooting for is to not be in it at all
Yeah.
and be able to see the wide picture.
True.
Yes. Okay. What other headlines are out there?
All right, so I have one that I think is interesting. It says Lido or Lido, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Staking pool may cause long-lasting damage to Ethereum. And it's this, so it is a Lido financing or finance is a staking pool for Ethereum 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
And so to stake, to be part of Ethereum 2.0's proof of stake, you have to have 32 Ethereum. Well, that keeps most of the retail investors out of the picture. So
Sure.
there's companies that make these pools where, I put in my 2, you put in your 4, and eventually we get 32 and we form this pool, and then they start a pool for more people, and they continually are building these pockets of 32 Ethereum.
Sure.
But someone brought up the point of, by doing that, they are the ones who are getting the majority of the rights and benefits that come with proof of stake. And instead of it being decentralized, it's becoming a monopoly. It's becoming centralized because if everyone uses that company to be part of the pool, then that company is ultimately going to have the majority share of Ethereum. And I
True.
just thought that was very interesting because, I mean, their whole purpose of doing Ethereum 2.0 is to make all these improvements and to make gas fees less, and the transactions process quicker, and all that is still probably going to be true. But if you do that by means of centralizing things, is that really in the best interest of Ethereum as a project?
It's a good question, but I also wonder, because I don't actually know. I don't know. Is Ethereum so set on decentralization?
Yeah,
You
I
know what I
mean, I
mean?
don't.
Like, is that
They
part of their principles that they're wanting to stick to? I would imagine it's not.
they've historically been one of the least centralized ones, but just in general, decentralization is sort of a core principle of crypto, just sort of as a general rule. It's almost
Right.
assumed rather than anything else. And so I don't know. It's just it's interesting to me to see things like this because that's been my concern. I mean, we've talked before about like PayPal. And if
Right.
you invest in crypto in PayPal and then you use that to pay for a transaction somewhere, PayPal actually keeps your crypto. And the I have with that is I don't want these large companies amassing these huge stockpiles of crypto and then becoming just the central banks that we have now. Like that's what I don't want. And so, as a general rule, I'm against things like that. But that doesn't mean everyone is. And
Hmm.
there is some streamlined efficiency that comes through centralization, but I just don't know that it's beneficial for crypto as a whole.
I wonder, I could go in so many directions from what you were just talking about, but you look at companies like MicroStrategy, their CEO, I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name?
Not off the top of my head.
He's one of the biggest proponents for
Michael
crypto out
Saylor.
there. Yes, Michael Saylor. He's been very outspoken, pro crypto, pro Bitcoin, especially. And, but MicroStrategy has been buying up Bitcoin in large amounts. And when you talk about some of these companies owning so much of a certain cryptocurrency that it could make it decentralized, I have to wonder about something like them. Um, let me see. looks like, and this was back in September, and I know I've read more things just recently about them accumulating more Bitcoin since then. But as of September 30th of 2021, the company held $2.41 billion of Bitcoin. And it is, I'm trying to find some more up-to-date information because I'm doing this on the fly. But I know that they're continually buying more. I think I read a little bit last week when we were talking about Luna and how the UST coin, which is the stable coin we've been talking about and kind of updating about all the time, how they're accumulating Bitcoin as well to be able to back their stable coin, which I think is a little different. I hope is a little different. But if at any point they get a decent majority, they could potentially also be a centralized agency ruling over this cryptocurrency. But that was when I read about MicroStrategy and how they're accumulating Bitcoin as well. And I've heard some speculation in the past, because there are those out there, me included, who thinks that Bitcoin will be one of the new king currencies at some point. I believe that. That doesn't mean it's truth, but it also doesn't mean it's not truth. But if that were the case, let's base this on that premise. If that were the case, anyone who essentially holds a Bitcoin now and holds it then when it becomes, if it becomes a more prominent currency in the world, will have immense wealth because there's only a 21 million supply of the coins, right? So if you hold 1 million of the coins, then you will be holding a lot of the wealth based in that currency. You would be now anyway. But we also look at, like, what's the world population? There's not enough Bitcoins that everyone in the world could own one.
Have one, right?
Right. And so if you even own one, you will be in a small minority of those who hold a full Bitcoin. So you look at like MicroStrategy, who's accumulating thousands of Bitcoins. And that's why I was bringing that up. It could lend itself to some of that centralization you're talking about.
Definitely. That is for sure a possibility.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much more we could cover. We could probably go on for days about this, just rambling about all the news and articles that are going on and off. But I think we'll leave you guys with that for today, and maybe we'll do some more current news updates in the future.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks for joining, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you for listening. Join us every Monday and Thursday as we discuss trading on earth as it is in heaven. If you want to connect further, follow us on social media at market.mystics for Instagram and TikTok, and search for Market Mystics on YouTube and Facebook. If you still need more, follow the link on Facebook to book a coaching appointment. Until next time, see ya.